Hey guys! So today I will be doing a book review of Salem Falls by Jodi Picoult. It's like this. I finished reading this last night around 1:30 in the morning. I had to stay up, I had to finish it, I couldn't put it down, I had to know what happened at the end. Now, this book is definitely an adult novel. It's fiction, and it's really well written, and it's really great, but it's not young adult fiction, it's not teen fiction. But it is amazing. It is actually, I think, one of my favorite Jodi Picoult novels, and I have read a decent bit by her. I've read, what did I read last summer? I read The Storyteller. I read, oh man, I can't remember her books right now. I read The Storyteller, I read The Pact, My Sister's Keeper, which is one that she's really well known for, which is another really great book by her. But I think this one has taken that top spot and has become my new favorite. She did such a great job writing it. She did a good job of making all the characters' lives kind of intertwine, and she does it in a way that it doesn't seem patchy and it doesn't seem forced. It flows very well. It flows very nicely. Another thing that I really like about Jodi Picoult as a writer, whenever she does these little things, and instead of marking chapters, chapter 1, chapter 2, she'll have things like, okay, April 30th, 2000, Salem Falls, New Hampshire. And it'll look like this. Or, she'll have that, and then maybe in the next section she'll go back in time a little bit and say, okay, now we're in New York in 1989, and let's see what's going on here. And then we'll jump back to the present day. And it kind of just, it flip-flops a little bit and it moves around. But I think she executes that really nicely. And she doesn't, it's raw and it works. It doesn't like, okay, here and then here and then here. It's just, it flows very nicely and it all makes sense. It's all relevant to the main storyline. Which I think some authors lose when they try to do something like this. They get all these extra little things that don't really need to be there. And you're kind of just sitting there reading like, okay, why is this necessary for me to know? Why is this important to anything that's happening in the story? So, yeah, she does a really good job of that. Now, this story is about Jack St. Bride, and he was living in this place called Loyal, New Hampshire. He was a teacher. He coached the girls' soccer team. He was well liked as a teacher. He was fun and interesting, which is great. Until one of the girls, Catherine, decides to say that he raped her. And you're just like, what? Like, what are you doing? Why would you do this to him? Like, he's your favorite teacher. In her mind, she had created this whole fantasy of, like, him loving her, and she loved him, and she wrote about all these fictional things in her diary. And it was just a big mess that got totally blown out of proportion. And by the time she tried to take it all back, everyone's like, no, it's okay, you're just trying to protect him, you don't need to do that anymore, blah, 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 all this other stuff. And you're just sitting here thinking, what are you people doing? Are y'all insane? Like, why don't you believe her now? And it's really telling about how people are in society, especially when he moves to Salem Falls. Now, with the first conviction, he was convicted. He took his plea bargain, so he only did like 8 months in jail. And then, he was free to go. He was free to move on with his life and start over. And that's what he tried to do. He moves to Salem Falls in hopes of starting over, starting a new life. And here he meets Addie, who works in the diner. Now, Addie, she's really sweet. She's had kind of a hard life. It hasn't always been easy for her, but she's made it work. And I can admire that a lot about her. I think Addie is a really admirable character. She's a very likable character. She has moments, just kind of like I do, throughout the novel where we doubt Jack and we doubt his validity and we doubt all these things about him. But in the end, she comes back to it and she knows that Jack is truthful and that he would never do some of these things that he's being accused of. Now in Salem Falls, you have a group of girls. Jillian and her little group of friends, they are a coven of Wiccan practitioners. I don't know what exactly to call it, but they all practice the pagan religion of being a Wiccan, which, cool, fine, whatever. Well, it ends up getting this huge blown out of proportion thing, and then Jillian calls rape against Jack St. Bride. And you don't really see everything that happens on that night. It was a group of girls in the forest. Jack happened to stumble along, and you just kind of get bits and pieces and flashes. So we as readers really don't necessarily know if Jillian's telling the truth or if Jack is telling the truth. And that is where a lot of the problem comes in, because you're sitting here reading all these things. You're kind of rooting for Jack. You're like, man, Jack wouldn't do this, you know. He is so unlucky that this happened again. And even in his trial, I don't remember who said it, but somebody in the trial was like, so you want me to believe that twice you have been falsely accused of this? That's ridiculous. Or you're just the most unlucky man on earth. And Jack is pretty unlucky to have this happen to him twice. I will admit, though, in his second conviction, I was a little skeptical. I got worried there for a while, like, okay, maybe he did do it. I don't know. And you kind of just go back and forth with yourself wondering, is Jack really capable of this kind of thing? Or am I just letting Jillian manipulate me the same way that she's manipulating her friends and the rest of the town? Jillian is a very manipulative person. I do not like her. She is an awful person, and I think she needs a lot of help. But as the story unfolds, you kind of learn why she's like that. And I guess in the end it makes sense, but it doesn't excuse what she does. And that's how I see it. She's just, I don't know. I don't know. There's just something about her. Anyway, you kind of go back and forth, you follow the trial, you see everything that happens with the trial, and then the ending. The ending of this book blew my mind. When I read the ending, I had to reread it 2 or 3 times to make sure I read it correctly, because I was just so blown away. I was like, no way this happened. No way that I just sat here through all of this just for this one crucial thing to happen. Are you kidding me? Are you what? Like, what even just happened here? How did I go from this over here to now this completely different thing? And then it just ends, and I was just like, no, there has to be more. There has to be more to this. It can't just end here. What? No, that's terrible. But I think that's one thing that I really both loved and hated about this book was the ending. Because I do like the way most of it ended. It's literally like the last little piece of her page. So page like 433 to 434. This little bottom piece here up until this little piece at the top. It doesn't seem like much writing, but there is such a shocking twist at the end. I was completely baffled, and I don't know how anyone could pick up on it. But in the end, it seemed so obvious to me. It was like, how did I miss this whole time? All, 432 pages. How did I not see this coming? But you don't, and I think that's just, it's so crazy to me. I absolutely loved it, though. The book was so well written. It was so nicely put together. You have these great characters. I don't know, I think I mentioned Addie a little bit, but Addie she's such a sweetheart, and I really do love her. I think she is one of the most relatable characters in the entire novel, because she has her moments of doubt, just like we do, but she acknowledges them, and she knows that, okay, I shouldn't have doubted, and I should be better for this. And her dad, Roy, I love Roy. He was so funny. He amused me so much. He's kind of an alcoholic, pretty much, but he really does love Addie, and he wants to take care of her, especially when the whole trial is going on with Jack. He's like, he wants to take care of her, and he just doesn't know how. I mean, how do you take care of someone when they're going through something like that? It's just crazy. This book really shows you a lot about humanity, and a lot about how words have meaning and power behind them, and how something you say can really just make or break somebody else's life. And that's just not something that you mess with. That's awful, to say all these horrible things to completely ruin somebody else. I don't know why anyone would want to do that. That's just so crazy to me. So I really liked the realness of this book, and how things like this actually happen. People do this kind of stuff, you know, it's real. It's a very real book. So if you're looking for a more mature read, something that maybe is a little bit out of your comfort zone, it's not fantasy, it's not anything like that, it's purely adult fiction, then I would definitely recommend this for you guys. It was such a great book, so just heartfelt and so kind of sad. It was kind of sad, but I really did enjoy it. There are some moments in the book where you're just blown away by some of the things that these characters do and say, and it's full of surprises. And like I said, the ending, oh my god, the ending is so crazy. So let me know if any of you have ever read this book or now plan on reading it. I would love to hear from you guys and what you guys have to say on it. Especially if you've read it, please let me know what you think in the comments. I haven't met anyone who's read it yet, and I'm dying to talk about it with somebody. So if you've read it, let me know. And if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Alright guys, thanks for watching.